Hello, everyone, and welcome to another live stream event with me, Laura Riley. I am the CEO of Cloud Underground, and I'm going to be continuing on my series, which I think I'm going to call It's So Easy, Even a CEO Can Do It, with the Underground Nexus. So last week, I did a live stream where I installed the Underground Nexus. You can definitely go find that. The link is in the video description down below. So you can go check out that live stream. I made it pretty much through the whole process. There were a couple tools that I didn't install all the way, so I wanted to show everyone how to finish setting up a few of those tools. The other thing that happened was a couple days after we finished that I made that live stream and got my Nexus up and running, we ended up releasing a nice update for it. So I'm going to go ahead and also show you guys how you can uninstall the Nexus and then rebuild it, essentially. So that'll be the first step, is we're going to get rid of the old one, and then we'll go through all the steps of the process to rebuild it and install the latest version. So let's see here. I talked to Nato a little bit about how this works, so he's given me the prereqs and what I need to do. So let's see if we can do this right. So of course you need to have Docker Desktop installed before you can even go ahead and build the Nexus. That's your first prerequisite. So unless you're doing it on a Raspberry Pi, in which case you don't need Docker Desktop. If you're doing it on just, I don't know, what kind of machine would you recommend that they need to have Docker Desktop? Just like a normal desktop or a Windows computer or a laptop? If you're not running Linux, essentially, or?
I think even Linux uses it. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it works on Linux too. Yeah.
Nato's here in the background giving me some help.
I could be wrong.
But anyway, so if you're running it on a Raspberry Pi, you probably don't need Docker Desktop. But for me, I'm just running it on my normal desktop that I use for my daily use. So I do need Docker Desktop. I've already installed that. I'm not going to go through that process because everybody knows how to install an app. So you can go ahead and there's links to Docker Desktop on the Nexus page, on their GitHub page for the Nexus, so we'll get to that in a few. But anyway, so the first step of getting rid of the old version of the Nexus is we're going to come here to Images, and then there's these three dots, and we can hit Remove. Oh, error invoking remote method. Well, maybe I need to do it in a different order. Let's try uninstalling these first.
Remove the container first.
In Images?
Go to Containers and Apps.
Containers and Apps.
Delete it.
Oh, okay. All right. So step one, we go to Containers and Apps, and we remove the container. Okay, so there's no containers running. And then next we'll go to Images, hit those three buttons, and then you can go, or the three dots, go down to Remove. Oh, okay, and this time it removed just fine. And then next we go to Volumes. You can select all of these and then just hit Delete. Delete forever.
Now the thing to know is if they want to keep their Nexus data, the volumes are what allow them to keep their data if they're trying to not lose their data.
Okay, so Nato was just saying that if you have been working in the Nexus and you have data essentially that you want to keep, you'd want to keep the volumes. Don't delete those. That's how you can maintain your information from one update to the next. So if you have been working in the Nexus, I really haven't done much in it yet. So for me, I'm just going to kind of start from scratch. But you go Containers and delete the container, and then Images and delete the image, and then you would leave the volumes. So thanks, Nato. Good to know. All right. So now we're going to go to over here to the GitHub repository here for our Underground Nexus. Okay. So the link to this also is down below in the video description. You can get the GitHub repository link, and it'll bring you to this lovely page here. So like I did before, I'm just going to kind of go through and read this, and we can work through it together. If you didn't already know, the Underground Nexus is a cloud construction toolkit. This resource will be receiving dedicated trainings until August of 2022. That's right, we will be releasing some courses related to the Underground Nexus in the next quarter, probably. And then, let's see, it's a great tool for developer communities. Can teach it, can use it to teach how to do cloud native DevSecOps. There's a lot of other uses too. We'll talk about that in a little bit once it's installing, because we'll have some time to kill then. Okay. So the other thing you can do if you get a little stuck, which I did in my last video, is you can go and we have this. Okay, it didn't play. We have this video that is the Underground Nexus Quick Start Guidance that's linked in the GitHub. So that's this link here. If you go ahead and click on that, it's going to take you to, opening windows that I don't want to open. Sorry, folks. Get rid of that. Okay. So, okay, there we go. So here we go. Let's go through the step-by-steps. Again, if you don't have Docker Desktop already, you can download that here. So assuming Docker Desktop is already installed, open a command line or a terminal shell, depending on if you're using Windows or Linux or OS X. So we need command prompt. Okay. We're gonna paste the appropriate install command for your computer's hardware platform. So we have a few options here. There's the Docker Hub development pull for Docker Desktop or AMD 64 systems. There is the Docker Hub secure pull for Docker desktops or AMD 64 systems. That's the one I'm going to do. I don't want the developer edition. I just want the secure edition. And then there's also the same links or the same commands essentially for if you're running it on a Raspberry Pi, NVIDIA Jetson, or an ARM64 system. So again, there's the development and the secure pulls for both of those. Okay, so first we're going to copy and then jump over to our command prompt and paste it. Which I learned you paste in a command prompt by just right clicking. So if you didn't already know. So here we go. And now it's going to install. So there we go. And this is going to take a few minutes. So while this is going through the process, I'm going to pull this over on this screen so I can kind of keep an eye on it. Oh, okay, wait. Actually, that wasn't the long one. That was the pretty short and easy one. Okay. Next, after deploying the Underground Nexus from a Docker run command, type docker exec underground. Okay, so this little command into the exact same terminal console.
Not that. Not that. Go back. The one where it says activate lower.
Okay, so apparently I'm
Right
trying
there.
to grab the
Move
wrong
your mouse,
code.
Move your mouse up a little bit. That one. That's the one. Copy that one.
Okay, what is this then?
I don't know. Just copy the other one because otherwise you're gonna run into a potential error. Because
Okay,
could be
well,
the same
whatever. I
thing,
guess we
but
won't get
just
into it,
run
but
that one 'cause
ignore this for now.
yeah, just the one that says activate.
Okay,
just run
so we're going to install step 2, which is paste the activation command in the same shell. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I probably need to. Okay. All right. And this is the one that takes a while? Okay.
About 20 minutes.
Perfect. All right. So I'm going to just pull this over so that we can let that run and I can keep an eye on it. And then here we are. So I wanted to show you guys a few things. Again, I talked a little bit about this Underground Nexus quick start guide video. It starts right around when NATO and Germain are starting to talk about how this all works, how you can install and work with the Nexus. So that's a great resource. If you going through the guide or something and get a little stuck, you can kind of watch that and it'll help you. Of course, you can also watch my video if you are curious how this all works. So the other thing I wanted to show everyone was if we go to our Cloud Underground website, we have a new landing page here for the Underground Nexus. The beautiful thing, obviously, about the Nexus is it is a DIY tool. You can download it and build it and run it just like we do, just like I'm doing today. But if you have specific needs, if you are running a company and you're like, I just need someone who can, do a lot of this work for me. I just need the toolkit. And some support from developers or whatever. We are also offering a couple annual plans that you can purchase for annual seats, and those come with some additional options, including you get a dedicated account manager, a technical account manager, who's going to be there to offer you support throughout the year. And so you can go to our website. Again, this is all linked in the video description to learn a little bit more about the various tiers for the Underground Nexus. Again, they're annual subscriptions. The cool thing about the Nexus is you really can do so many things with it. Like, we talk about this a lot because it is just a really diverse tool. We originally built it to host students in laboratory environments because it's very affordable to teach them these super high-end network engineering skills, and it's also very scalable. DevSecOps is a huge part of everything we do at Cloud Underground, and it's basically built into everything we do. And that's another beautiful thing about this tool is DevSecOps is a big part of it. It's going to allow you to really build very securely in a super secure environment. So lots of cool things you can do with the Nexus. And lots of cool things. You can really essentially do any sort of development with it. It's a very diverse tool. So I am learning CSS coding, and so one of my goals is to build our Cloud Underground site out with my own template. Of course, this is a WordPress site, and I use WordPress templates. And then we have, a Shopify shop that we use for the back end of our of our shop, where you go if you want to purchase the plan. And I want them to look a little more cohesive, so I'd really like to code a template for both. For now, it's great, and it's good for while I'm learning, but that's kind of my end goal with the Nexus. So just one of many, many, many potential uses. Within the Nexus toolkit, which we'll see once it's all installed and we get to that point, you can see we have the virtual admin desktop. It's essentially a security operations center, so that's all built in. It has a QEMU-powered hypervisor that can deploy virtual machines. Visual Studio Code is in there. Git Kraken, GitHub Desktop, Portainer, Pi-hole, and of course one of our additional tools that we developed along with Ken Underhill from CyberLife Television is the CyberLife Torpedo, which is essentially an Amazon an AWS S3 bucket. So then if we keep scrolling on this page, you've got the quick start guide and then a couple other videos that we've done. My video, you don't have to be a software engineer to install the Nexus. And then a live stream that we did a couple weeks ago on our Fridays on the Edge live event that we do every Friday in our Facebook group. We actually did this one to all of our various channels. And I'm going to be actually posting that video on the Cloud Underground YouTube as well. But for now, it's living on the NATO's Code YouTube channel, and you can go watch, us all discuss the Nexus, what it can be used for. Fun stuff. So a few use cases that, obviously education, that's kind of what we had initially built it for, and then we realized, oh, this is like a super diverse thing. We can do so much more than just offer the potential to scale labs with this. But anyway, of course, it does have those purposes. You can teach cloud native DevSecOps and cloud computing and data science skills that are, particularly security oriented, that are usually really hard to acquire because they require that you have access to really expensive hardware and secure data centers. Well, we kind of do that for you, so you can learn these skills on a super low cost. Essentially all of the hardware or the software is free. You just need to, you can get it. You can run it on a Raspberry Pi, which is what, like $60 or something, or less. So it's a great way to run it. And then once you have it installed on your Raspberry Pi, you can scale it to host hundreds of students. So it's a really cost-effective way to, to offer these skills to students. For small businesses, it's a way for you to kind of take back control of your hosting. You can use it to replace, traditional solutions like Amazon Web Services, GCP, Azure. You can migrate all of your development to the Nexus, and pay us to host you, or you can, of course, host yourself depending on what you're at or where you are, and what kind of solutions you need. And then for enterprise businesses, again, it replaces these traditional hosting solutions and allows you to dramatically increase your cloud scalability for the cost, potentially saving you hundreds of thousands of dollars every year by switching to Underground Nexus. A safer way to migrate to the hybrid cloud model. So, yeah, it's an awesome tool. I'm going to take a quick sip of coffee while this is still running. Pull this back over so you guys can watch it. It's still unpacking. And while that's happening, I have to do my one of my least favorite things, which is fill the dead air. So let's I guess another thing we can talk about a little bit, always love to promote our radio station. So you can go to our website and grab it there, or you can go to our, oh yeah, there it is. Here it is. I'm not going to turn it on just because I don't want to interfere with the live stream stuff, but yeah. Oh, let's see. Back to the Underground Nexus page, because actually I didn't quite make it all the way to the bottom, and there were a couple more things I was going to say about it. If you are interested in the Underground Nexus, I think one of the best things you can do, if you're kind of not sure what you want to do with it or if it would be useful for you, I would highly encourage you to join one of our various communities, because we're here to help, to support, to talk about use cases, to help people kind of figure out what they can use the Nexus for. So I would highly encourage everyone to come over and join the DevSecOps Dojo. You can also join our Facebook group, the Cloud Native Engineers. The DevSecOps Dojo actually even has a chat channel that's exclusively dedicated to the Underground Nexus. So if people have ideas or thoughts or, whatever, you can jump over there and ask our community. We've got a great community, and there's stuff happening over there all the time, and it's super fun. So I guess the other thing that I'm going to do while we're sitting here waiting for things to happen is check the YouTube chat and see if anybody's watching or chatting. NATO says this is awesome. Thanks, NATO. Anyway, cool stuff. Well, thanks everyone who is watching. Even if you're watching the replay, we really appreciate the views. Definitely give our channel a subscribe. That's the other thing on this little list of, potential community, be a part of the movement options. So subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm going to be doing a lot more live streams, I think. I was making like pre-recorded podcasts, but but this is a little more efficient for my time and energy to just jump on and do live streams. So I think that's kind of going to be my format a little bit in the future. So yeah, let's check on this. Okay, we're still working here. Still loading. Still running. So I guess our next steps, we can take a look at that.
Even though I'm not on camera, we can talk about things.
Sure. NATO is still here in the background. NATO, you have any thoughts on... So tell us a little bit about the new updates.
Okay, so I've made a lot of updates. So if Laura, if you slowly, for the audience, because you don't want to be too fast for the audience, scroll all the way down as I talk slowly. So if we see that we have steps 1 through, so keep going until we see 10. So steps 1 through 10 is historically what we had before. Now, if you scroll a little further, notice there is an 11 and a 12. Something very specific that we've added is Terraform to the kit, because it is something that we use GitLab as a central management tool for, and GitLab also allows you to use GitLab runners to centrally control whatever, wherever, on any node, on any server. But more interestingly, Terraform, of all things, lets you build whatever you want, wherever. So we added Terraform to the kit so that people can basically build anything from any single location. So if you wanted to then say, hey, I'm going to hire 5 more people, then you can just basically tell them all to download Nexus and then use Terraform with GitLab to just build whatever you want for them. For any, like, even if it's like, doesn't matter if it's 5 people, 1,000 people, the time investment to build for your team using Terraform is the same whether you have 5 or 5,000 or 5 million employees or people working with you, which is the magic behind it, is that the time investment doesn't change no matter how many people you're supporting. So even if you have to learn it, it's still faster than like alternatives of like trying to manually do everything for everyone. So you could instead be like, okay, let me onboard all my developers. Let me get all my developers going and spend time on all of them. No longer. Never again. Just tell them download this thing and then send them the latest version of your script or whatever scripts that you, or you don't even have to be the one who makes it, because if you have like 5 developers, tell them to, and then as soon as one person finishes their work, boom, it's there for everyone. All 5 million people, if you have 5 million people, or all 500 people, or all 5 people. It's to maximize collaboration, especially, the benefit is it's not really built for teams of 1. The Nexus is kind of built for teams of 3 or more, ideally 4 or more. But still, even if you are just one person, it makes your ability to grow your business stay about the same time as investment as like the second person you bring on. Boom, then your time investment to kind of expand out people working in your environment doesn't change. I made some other minor updates to make it a little easier to run other applications without conflicts using the Underground Nexus. But yeah, the big one is Terraform in there for cloud engineers. So as soon as you start hiring cloud engineers, your engineers can do a lot more with and for each other, where one person's effort becomes one person's win is everyone's win, no matter the size of your team.
Awesome. Yeah, it's really cool. It's a super diverse tool. I think that's kind of one of my main takeaways. It's just like you can do so much with it, and
too much.
Let's check on our. Still running. We're still going.
Oh, it's making progress. Actually, it's in the final part.
Oh, we're down to Git Kraken.
So I guess if I explain what's going on with this, like when you're running this,
Mm-hmm.
so the Underground Nexus is like an operating system for supercomputers, and it has pipeline connections and just basically like cloud connectivity built into it by default. So that's what you're waiting for it to configure. It's configuring security. It's configuring a bunch of other small hosts that live inside of it, and then
Mm-hmm.
it's configuring connection options to connect the Nexus with other Nexus systems. Ultimately, you can scale about 5,000 nexuses together at a time before you run into like performance hits. So if you have more than 500 nexuses that you're deploying, probably want to break that out into another 5,000. So for every 5,000, just start a new cluster with the Nexus.
That makes sense.
The Nexus, because some people ask like, who is it really for? Well, if you're not trying to learn how to work with like multi-billion-dollar technologies, if that's not something you're trying to learn, it might not necessarily be what you need or what you're looking for. If you're trying to have more customers, it's for people who are trying to have more customers, or alternatively, companies who have massive teams who need to like dramatically shave down the management overhead with like managing like large teams. So the bigger your team is, or the more desire you have to have, say, more customers, those are your two general use cases,
Mm-hmm.
then that's where the Nexus becomes magical. Otherwise, like if someone's just like, oh, I just want a computer and I'm just going to use one, I mean, just go buy like a Mac laptop or a Windows laptop or a desktop and whatever, like life is good. But if you're trying to have like 20, 100, 500 customers, 5 million customers, or if you're trying to have, 200 staff, 500 staff, 10,000 staff, or let's say that you already have 10,000 staff and have no idea how to manage them all and want to just like make it immediately easier to just manage everyone together at the same time, especially if you're using Git already, or if you're starting a new company. If you're on legacy, it's also an easier way to migrate off of legacy infrastructure because it allows you to if you migrate your legacy infrastructure over from whatever you're on to
Mm-hmm.
the Nexus is technically agnostic, and then you can move your whatever you're migrating your stuff to with ease. So let's say that you're trying to migrate from Google Cloud Platform to Azure or vice versa, or whatever you're trying to do. Or maybe you have like an on-prem server and you're trying to migrate up to Azure. You can actually migrate to Nexus first, and then Nexus can actually just live in all those places at the same time. You can actually have it live in Google Cloud Platform, in Azure, in AWS, and on your desk, and you can make them all work together. So yeah.
So my application, let me turn myself down a little. My application of like web development was definitely not what it was intended for, but it is a potential way that you can use it. Again, there's a lot of things you can do with the Nexus.
Well, if you
Though,
want customers, it is.
well, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You can have more customers. If you do web development and you're trying to like be able to have more customers and more time back, even if you are doing web development for someone else, it can reduce the amount of time necessary for your web development, especially over time. So if you just start doing your web development with the Nexus, it gives you time back,
Mm-hmm.
which is the secret of it. So
How so? Explain
and
that
it's
to
a
me.
it's a security box. So let's say that you do web development for X amount of customers. Eventually, you're going to run into a scenario where if you're doing all of their like security from just like one computer, then let's say that one computer gets breached, all of your clients get breached. And so if you have like 20 companies you do web development for, and then you get breached, all 20 of those companies get breached. Alternatively, if you spin up a Nexus container or for every single customer that you have, it separates all of their security. And then if say like one customer gets hacked or you get hacked or something like that, then the Nexus means that that's it. That like no one else is getting hacked. And so realistically, if you're a web developer and one of your clients gets hacked, you can get hacked through your client too.
Mm-hmm.
So the more clients you take on, you just open up a lot of doors for risk.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing is it allows you to have separation across all of your accounts so that you can have all of your logins always just stay logged in that way, and you can have like uh, this Nexus is already logged into all of these accounts here, and then the Nexus is locked away. You make sure that the Nexus is kept safe, and then you're like, this Nexus is logged into all these accounts over there, and so it just makes it easier to just save all your passwords in a place without worrying about like, well, if I save my passwords, what if someone like uses my computer? What if someone sees it, or what if I do get hacked and they like get into my password vault? Well, I gotta somehow figure out how to get into every single one of your Nexuses if you just have a Nexus container for all of your clients.
That makes sense. If I known you were going to talk so much, I would have made you come closer to the mic. I wouldn't have moved the microphone so far away from you.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Hopefully everyone can hear you okay.
Yeah. Nexus is like, it's kind of like a security vault. Like if we're talking about DevSecOps, it's the security in your DevSecOps. So it's like it's like the sec part, and it has monitoring for everything too. So you also get dedicated like forensic analysis resources in it. Whether you even know what's going on in the Nexus, it starts monitoring your business assets the second it lives. So for every Nexus container that you have, say like you're managing a customer for, that customer by default is getting monitoring for their project, so that like from like security monitoring, and it also has pre-built-in malware blocking resources and ransomware blocking resources. So it will automatically from day one, just by launching the Nexus, so just by working with the Nexus, you're actually less susceptible to phishing attacks, because if you accidentally click the wrong email for a client in one of your client Nexus boxes, and you go and you look at an email and then that account gets phished, the Nexus will also try to block the phishing attack coming after you from what you clicked on. As to where if you're not using the Nexus, you're subject to potentially just clicking a link, and whatever happens to you, you're doomed. You have no defense measures. So the Nexus has it's kind of like having antivirus built into it, with more stuff just kind of added to it. And then on top of that, you can add like SIM platforms to it. There's a lot of SIM platforms. There's like Blumira, Logarithm, there's like Splunk, there's different things. You can add whatever you want. I think Blumira is easier to use, but I could also be biased because I help them build things. But for the reality of it all is, you don't even have to have a SIM platform or security information and event management platform to already have more security than most people do, period. Most companies have significantly less security than if you just start your company or your project with the Nexus. You immediately have significantly more security than most companies even have within the first 2 years of being in existence. It's kind of like having like a security professional build 2 years worth of configurations for you in one place. And that's another value of the Nexus.
Amazing.
Security first. Don't get hacked, because if your bank account gets hacked online, that's all your money. That's your life. Don't get your PayPal hacked. Don't get your crypto hacked. Don't get all your stuff hacked. It's not good.
Just do everything in the Nexus and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, do your banking in the Nexus. Realistically, though, yeah, totally. And then some other cool features about the Nexus while we're watching this thing. It's getting there. It's good. It's in the last update.
Yeah, and I also wanted to show everyone. I opened the link, or I keep doing that. I'm not on my taskbar, and it's like driving me nuts. Okay. I wanted to show everyone our DevSecOps Dojo landing page. You can go here to join the dojo, and then it's going to take you to this lovely little LinkedIn pop-up. You don't have to have a LinkedIn account to join it, but it will have to enter an email address. So anyway, I think that's right? You don't have to have LinkedIn.
Yeah, you have to enter an email address.
Yeah, you just need an email address.
But if you have a LinkedIn account, you automatically get like a traffic boost.
Yeah, so that's the other advantage of being in the DevSecOps Dojo is you get access to Oh, okay. I accidentally pressed the mute button. I knew, I saw my bar stop bouncing though, so I wasn't saying anything. Anyway, um, yeah. So you just need to have an email account. But if you do have a LinkedIn account, then the AI Augustus will give, or Augustus AI will give you, like, automatically give you a traffic boost for coming in and being part of the dojo. So, um, yeah, it's awesome. It's mainly the main place that it occurs is in a Discord community, so you can come in and meet other people who are interested in DevSecOps. We are soon going to be unveiling a new belt system for the DevSecOps dojo, so it will be more like a traditional sort of dojo sort of system where you progress through sort of a belt ranking system as you complete particular tasks. So that's coming up soon. I'm actually really excited about that. Um, yeah. Thanks to shout out and thanks to Xavier for working on all of that stuff for us. So anyway, this talks a little bit about how the DevSecOps dojo came to be, some of our virtues of the dojo, and then of course the many links for you to join. So you can check that out. The other thing we have is our shrink that out of the way. Our Cloud Native Engineers Facebook group. So Randy posts in here a lot. Just about every day, he's got some new resources that you can check out. And then another main reason that you can join our Facebook group is that we do live streams every Friday. So this was last Friday's. Fridays on the Edge is what we call it. So yeah, it's a cool place to be. We do a lot of fun stuff there and just lots of good resources, lots of cool stuff. Shout out to Randy for all of the cool stuff that he posts in there. And of course, we always try and share our YouTube videos. When NATO goes live, I usually try to drop a link in there too, so you can kind of keep up with what's going on. So yeah, there you go. Let's check on it. Oh, it's still unpacking. Okay. Cool. Long installs. It's happening.
Let's see, it's doing.
It says
it's
unpacking the
installing
humanity icon theme.
Oh, it's installing humanity.
So
amazing. That's right, everyone.
It's getting there.
We even are installing humanity into the Nexus. And I will also reemphasize the Facebook group. One thing to know about the Facebook group is the stuff that Randall posts there frequently is also a lot of the resources that we actually use to engineer the Nexus itself. So when people are wondering, like, how do you come up with all these things? Randall. It's not even that we necessarily come up with all these things, is Randall finds, like, everything under the sun. Nothing escapes Randall's eye. He's like, whoa, did you know? Did you know? And then I'm like, what? And I did not. And so then the Facebook group is filled with all of those things, which led to what created a lot of the things in the Nexus that I would have never known or figured out, and that no one in the team would have known or figured out. So for those who are real geeks and are like, oh, I want to learn all the things and I want to discover all this random stuff, go to the Facebook group.
Definitely.
And you'll see, like, link after link of the absolute latest innovations, and especially for those, like, wanting to understand more of, like, modern cloud. Like, cloud native is a real force. Like, legacy technologies are about to get swept. Like, if you thought technology moved fast before, it's actually about to get a lot worse. And for folks who are not on this curve and this trend right now, you're getting more behind than you would have been behind, even like if we go back to like 2017, 2018, 2019. This recent boom, like if you're not up on things within like the past 3 months, it just finished. Something probably happened in the past 3 months that would give you a significant advantage and give you a lot less work to do if you just spent a little time reading and researching to find something that's doing something that maybe you have another 10 months to build. Maybe now you can just go and couple in something new instead of working 10 months to build a thing, and just integrate something that might help you fast forward your development and your projects.
And of course, you get to see all of Ken's gifts. Lots of gifts.
Oh, yeah.
All the gifts. Okay.
All the gifts.
All right, so our Docker container is now installed and ready, right?
Yeah.
So we can continue going through our guide. So, first step, access the main admin desktop.
That should work.
Here, okay. Here it goes.
Just thinking about it.
It's thinking. It takes a minute to think. That's okay. Oh, there it is. Here we are. Awesome. Okay, and then we can go here and make this full screen.
Yeah.
And that will take just a moment to load as well. Give that a sec to load. All right. Wow, we're getting a little bit of the weird cropping thing, but
maybe make it small again. Let it like refresh the page. And, yeah. And then hit the page refresh button at the top real quick. Okay, and then we'll let it load. And then once it loads, we'll wait, and then we'll do the resize.
takes a little patience to get started. It's a good.
So it takes a little bit of. So there's a lot that it loads when it loads the little desktop. Over time that'll get better, but it's not too bad. Once it's loaded, it's good. Okay, now try to do the full screen. We're learning with some browsers sometimes it resizes strangely, so that might be something that we have to figure out.
Yeah, it like pops full screen, but then it doesn't quite fill in, where your taskbar and stuff was. So we'll see what happens. Some browsers seems to work better than others. We've mainly noticed this problem on Firefox.
Try opening the Firefox inside the Nexus real quick and see if it changes anything. So that's something we'll figure out another time.
Yeah, a pretty minor little thing, but
yeah.
You can also use it in Brave browser, and it seems like I haven't seen that issue with Brave browser. So
yeah, Brave and Chrome.
Okay, so I'm gonna go to our website. Actually, let's just go right to it.
Our website for engineering purposes will block that. Just go to.
Well, GitHub. I was just trying to get to the GitHub.
Yeah, just go to github.com.
Okay.
And then in the search, just type Underground Nexus under the search.
So one thing I learned after doing this the last time, since NATO wasn't looking over my shoulder, was that I should have just opened. Oh, I mistyped it. Sorry, typo.
There you go.
Is that what I should have done, and I didn't do this. So I continued going through all of the steps, like, in my browser. So, on my like desktop browser and not in the Nexus. It would have been a lot easier if I had just gone into the Nexus and started going through all of the steps just in here. So, hint to all of you who are not software developers like me, this is the best way to kind of go through this. So we are already here in our local host, in our mate desktop. That's what this lovely thing is. So
the links on step 2 only work in your local browser.
Right, which we're not going to worry about those right now anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can read about the ports in the guide at your own leisure. Okay. So next we have some stuff about the Nexus. What do I need to know about the Nexus? I don't think I got to that step.
The first thing you want to do is go to step 9, because that's how you find all your access links. So this we want to be just like scroll. Yeah. Okay. Now leave it here for a sec. These links in step 9 only work from inside the Nexus desktop itself. And so I would say even just like you could just right click and open all of those in their own tabs. You can close the extra Firefox tab.
I will.
Yeah, and then just that's I guess that's why we're testing it. Where it says
This first one.
yeah, go to that page and then change it from 9050 at the end to 9443 because I might have to make a change to the link. Okay. I have to make a change to it. Okay, just go to advanced.
Oh, okay.
And then scroll down and go accept. Okay, I'm gonna go change that.
Okay.
Set up a password. Whatever you want.
Password? No, I'm just kidding. Stupid Firefox is always trying to... I need to turn off all of the settings.
No, I'll update that link right now.
Okay. Create user. Okay.
And then go to get started.
Get started.
And then just click on the one option.
Like, just click on the thing. Okay.
Yeah, and then see containers, just click on containers. Okay, you have all of your things. So Kubernetes is a default deployed Kubernetes cluster that lives inside the Underground Nexus, and it's Kubernetes. So I guess if you, this is stuff that no one really has to know, but like see where it has the little caret where it says server 0 for Kubernetes?
This one?
Click on that. And then click on connect. Actually, go to the drop down where it says command and go to SH and then go to connect. So unless you're like an engineer, you're not going to be touching Kubernetes anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But it's here for engineers. And so, Laura, if you type K, whenever you're ready to type, yeah, U, B, E, CTL, and hit enter, then you can see there that that's basically giving all the options for how to use Kubernetes. So that is Kubernetes. It's just Kubernetes. For Kubernetes is so complicated that it kind of takes maybe years to learn or understand. So I would say that's not a beginner-friendly thing. But if you're trying to learn Kubernetes, then it's already right here. So usually the journey to trying to learn Kubernetes starts with trying to figure out how in the world to even set it up, which can take months. So instead of forcing you to spend months trying to figure it out, here it is, Kubernetes. So if you go back to containers in there, Laura, all of these options here, the other links show how to access those. The one that I'm curious about testing is I might need to make a change to the Torpedo link too. So go to the GitHub and there's a link I need to see if it works because I'm going to update these links here. See where it says Underground Nexus Secret Vault, the last link. This is a new feature I just added. Okay, that's a link I need to fix. See where it says HTTPS, remove the S and see if that works. So because I'm going to go and update this document. So yes, since we make this and we actually develop this, we get to go and update these things. This is a new feature that we just added. The password is in the GitHub, but I'll tell you what it is. It's just my root.
I accidentally closed that. Let me get back into it.
Yeah.
A little fast.
I mean, you can hit back on Vault too.
Well, I know, but I don't want to like lose that link.
Yeah, you're good.
I mean, I guess I could just control click it, but whatever.
Yeah, so I guess it looks like I have a few links to update, but that's not a big deal.
Oh. Just bookmark it. Okay.
Yeah, scroll it down. Yeah. Okay, so that's what those are, and then the rest of the link should work. So I go up, but
Well, okay. Give me the login for this.
just type. Well, go back to GitHub because I want to walk you through a specific path also for that's easier for the viewer. So scroll up to 9 again. Just stick to all of step 9. And then see right there, it tells you what the default password is, and you want to type that default password for vault. So that is how you can do secrets engineering. It basically caches the passwords into memory. So in theory, whatever password information you're typing in here, saving in here, it doesn't save to a drive, it saves to RAM. So it makes it harder to hack passwords living in there or information living in this vault tool. So it's like a random thing about it, but it lets what you add in here, and it lets your secrets remain secret because they go to RAM and not a hard drive. Anyways, now you can go to the next tool. That's really anticlimactic. If you want to explore it, you can a little bit.
But what would you use this for? What would I use this for? Or would I?
You wouldn't. You're not. This is if you're trying to like build Terraform for like 1,000 nodes that have uniform password keys. This is for like more getting into the weeds.
Okay.
Now, what you would be more likely to use is those top two options that say Pi-hole and the CyberLife Torpedo, which we just want to make sure both work. I need you to test the CyberLife Torpedo link very specifically because that's another link that I need to just make sure that it works. Go ahead and go up to where it says Minio Console and just see if it loaded the page. It did. Okay, so that link works. Good to know. Voila. Okay, so this is a little change I made to the link on that. So I have a few links to update, but that's not a big deal. I'll have those links updated before, like in the next hour. But yeah, so this is how you can set up your Underground Nexus to basically be a NAS. I meant to make sure that you use the right Nexus install for this because this is something that we were going to use, but we can always re-update the Nexus at a later time if we have to. So go to create bucket, and if you just, I don't know, give it a name that doesn't have any characters or capital letters, then you can just say create bucket, and it creates a cloud folder that's basically your own cloud drive. And then in the top left corner where it says buckets again, under the console option, just click on that. It'll show you what your storage looks like and what your total usage is, how much data is in there. It is basically an S3 bucket, which is from Amazon. So it's kind of like AWS on your desk. And this is part of why, is because you have S3 buckets, and so it makes it easier to add security to your NAS, so you can make sure that not just any old person can log into your S3 bucket. You can password protect it, give people different rights. You can add, how many users have access to this particular bucket, things like that. So it just turns your Nexus into a full-on NAS, and it also lets you share your data globally however you see fit, or however you want to do that. And it lets you move data in and out of the Nexus as well.
How do you do that?
I didn't see which install you used when you installed it, so you might not be able to share data with your local computer if you did the wrong install.
I used the secure one.
Then you're not going to be able to. So if you use the secure Nexus install, it will prevent you prevent this from being accessible outside of the Nexus. So if you want to use this as a NAS, the main thing is you want to make sure that your Nexus is behind a firewall. If your Nexus is not behind a firewall, you want to use the secure login, and then you actually can't use this to move data back and forth between you. So you want to use the development install of the Nexus to be able to move data back and forth with things, which So because you chose the secure one, it's secured, and even you can't access this outside of the Nexus. So that's what that security feature is.
What's the difference between the secure and the developer?
The secure and the developer, also go back to the Pi-hole next, is that the Pi-hole and Minio are fully firewalled, so that if you're not behind a firewall, your Pi-hole and your Minio, your S3 bucket, can't get hacked that easily. So it's so that you don't have someone basically hacking you very easily. Like if you're playing with it in a coffee shop or on a laptop that you take around with you, You don't want to expose those resources outside of the Nexus, so the secure install of the Nexus protects your S3 bucket and it protects your Pi-hole, which is important too because your Pi-hole has all of your traffic and browsing data, and that's your data, and the last thing you want is someone else to get a hold of that information. So where it's showing like 6 clients, that's all of the services living inside of the Underground Nexus itself that the Underground Nexus is securing.
Wait, what do you mean 6? What are you referring to? 6
The green
clients?
little tile, and then there's the Pi-hole has tiles, and it has one that says total queries 6 clients, and then it has a blue one, and then it has the yellow one, and then it has the red one.
Wait, I thought it says 327.
6 clients.
Oh,
read,
6 clients.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. That's all the services inside the Nexus that it's watching, and that traffic is, from the updates and from the services doing what they're doing, and it is basically a little cloud server. So those are all your cloud services, and so this is your security monitoring right here, right away upon launching it. It is watching your S3 bucket. So if you have data in your Minio S3 torpedo, in that little tool, you can tell if someone's trying to hack it using Pi-hole, and you can tell where they're coming from, what they're trying to do, all thanks to Pi-hole, because it tells you, the traffic activity associated with your Nexus.
Cool.
Yeah. So if someone tries to hack your Nexus, they can't hide, basically. Not that easily. It's pretty hard to hide.
So what else do I need to add to this?
I mean, that's the main tour. I guess the other thing, if you want to show off the other tools, go to the menu in the top left corner of the whole Nexus. Yeah. Go to all apps. And some of the most notable items is that GitHub Desktop is in here, which allows you to set up repositories with no code. Otherwise, you have to go into a terminal command line and start trying to learn how to type things to build a repository. But you can say skip this step on Welcome to GitHub Desktop right there, and it's just say finish or whatever is good enough. And then right there, without knowing command line, notice that it has buttons for creating a repository. Otherwise, you do have to know how to code a repository and type it into a command line, type it into a terminal. So this lets you do technical kung fu with clicks, and that's the secret behind GitHub Desktop. Now, let's say that you want to do work with a repository. Go back up to the menu, and then go to all again, and there, scroll down in there. There, at the bottom, are 2 very specific tools. One Laura's shown in the past is the Virtual Machine Manager, but the other is Visual Studio Code.
I'm pretty sure I pulled that one up too. That was the one thing I was like, oh, I kind of know what this is.
Yeah. And then we'll see if,
Alright, so here's the Virtual Machine Manager.
There's Visual Studio Code. So last time you configured this, and then Visual Studio Code lets you work with your repositories. So once you have a repository set up, then you can use Visual Studio Code to work with your code repositories and just kind of get right to it. And it does let you scale into GitHub as well, and GitHub code spaces. So it's fully built for GitHub environments and just Git. It's a full-on Git cloud of sorts. So I guess the next thing that's worth checking out in here that it builds by default is go to the menu. Well, actually, no, straight from Visual Studio Code. See how it says Terminal? Click on Terminal, and then go to New Terminal. This lets you enter in terminal commands, and one of the more important ones now is Terraform. So actually just type Terraform space -v. -v. With this.
Space
-v. Yeah. So this right here shows that it's running Terraform, and then type Terraform without the -v. And as you can see, what this allows us to do is access a bash shell using Visual Studio Code, so that you can work with, say, your Terraform files or whatever you're doing. So if you did want to use the Underground Nexus to build very robust environments, then you can do that. And then the next one is, I guess, go back to Portainer. And I guess we have 2 more things to take a look at, but we'll go to Portainer first and see where it says Athena 0. It does have Kali Linux running inside of it with the bleeding edge repository. Click the caret with the underscore. And then go to connect on this. Just click connect. And then type M, F as in Frank, S as in snake, I guess. And then console.
All one word.
Yeah. And then run that.
MFS console.
Let me see what the right thing is for that. Let's see. Let's see what that actually is. MSF. Sorry, I mixed up the. Yeah, I think it's doing it now. Let's see. Ha! Metasploit. It has Metasploit framework running in it. Now, why is this interesting? It actually has Terraform and Metasploit inside of the tooling of the Underground Nexus. And the Athena 0, the Kali Linux node, it's basically like a gateway breaker box designed for things like bug bounty hunting. If you type ls right now with the little console, notice in the little listing there, and I guess you could probably highlight it with your mouse, but it should say Redare 2 in there somewhere. Do you see it? Yeah, highlight where it says Redare 2. Redare 2 lets you do deep analysis and debugging, and then Metasploit lets you build payloads based on things like assembly. So if you're getting into really deep weeds and doing assembly coding, then you would use Redare to kind of understand and review your assembly code, things like that, and then you can use Metasploit to build exploitable payloads that you can then use Terraform to build like chaos engineering and large-scale pen tests. So if you wanted to pen test, say, 5,000 nodes, this would probably be the most effective way to pen test 5,000 nodes quickly. And maybe you know how to pen test one node. This opens the gateway to take the pen testing skills you already have and expand that out to as many as 5,000 nodes per set faster, where you can have more orchestrated pen tests, and you can more easily do like advanced bug bounty hunting and actually make some money. So you can actually use this as like a bug bounty battle station of sorts. Their website's called like HackerOne, BugCrowd, Synec, Red Team, different resources that you can use with to basically try to find bounties to take on with the Underground Nexus using this sort of a thing. So you can actually build all kinds of extra capital just using this for bug bounty hunting. So even if you aren't using the Underground Nexus for cloud or scale, I guess the other strong use case for it is things like Red Team, bug bounty hunting, deep analysis, forensics, advanced forensics, malware analysis. It's very much so built for malware analysis as well. So if you get attacked by malware and you need a way to analyze and assess the malware, this is a way to go get started with doing dedicated and true malware analysis. It's behind what's called a hardening layer, and if you're using Docker Desktop, then it has even more hardening that prevents root access from going properly down to your bare metal. It's complicated, but there are reasons why we built it this way, and I would recommend using Docker Desktop if you're going to do malware analysis, and not other versions of Docker for malware analysis, just because of the nature of malware, otherwise having a higher likelihood of infecting your computer. So I guess the final thing to look at is, if you go back to GitHub, there's one more link we're going to check, and I'll show them the Security Operations Center dashboard that is kind of, just scroll down to 9 again. Oh, you're already there. Where's the one that says Security Operations Center? It's in there somewhere. Yeah, KDE. So we'll see if this works. This is piece that's not probably fully completed, but it's already forensics ready. So this is a sort of like a forensics desktop. And if you're doing forensics, deep analysis, and that sort of a thing, this is also built with less privilege than the Mate desktop, making it a better desktop for doing certain types of deep analysis and forensics where you don't want your you don't want your Docker socket to get breached. So the Docker socket is protected with this particular dashboard, as to where the Mate desktop has full-on admin access to the Docker socket in this system. So if you wanted to run, say, like a Pi-hole as a security operations center dashboard, you can actually have this extra dashboard right here go out to a screen that you just have that just runs nothing but this with the Pi-hole 24/7. But if you click the little like start menu on this, it has a unique tool. So go down to the little start menu in there, and then go to all applications or development, one of the two. Oh, there, and then go to GitKraken. And so GitKraken is a tool that allows you to analyze what's referred to as Git. And the Underground Nexus itself is built from Git. So if you're using the Underground Nexus and something happens to your Underground Nexus pipeline, GitKraken has an advanced what's called blame assessment system that allows you to analyze blame. I guess you try to launch it again. It might be something that we'll have to do some testing on. But
yeah, okay, try it.
It's under development. Well, you did it once. I'm just saying, try it again.
Oh, here it goes.
We'll see.
Oh, yeah.
Huh.
Is it like running in the background? Is that the kind of thing that you like?
Well, it's a bug. Bugs are bugs. That's why I'm just trying to understand what other things I have to kink out. So if apparently GitKraken is having some things, but either way, if you're trying to also have a desktop that you can share with people without giving them like full-on access to your Docker environment, then you want to give them access to the Firefox in this desktop, and you don't want to. Only admins should ever be touching the Mate, the green Mate desktop. The other desktop, its security is a little to the point to where you can see sometimes trying to launch things. I think maybe the security is a little too stringent, so I need to reduce some of the security on it. But if you open Firefox in there and then pull up yeah, it's got its own Firefox. No, so if you go in there, because you can share it out to other people's browsers, it's designed to just let you have Pi-hole running in there for a continuous desktop that people can access. Oh, does it not like anything?
Doesn't seem like anything wants to work here.
Oh, it's angry. So I guess there's some work to be done on that resource still.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, that is ultimately going to be a deep forensics lab. It's our least privileged resource, so it's super locked down, and I think that this just tells me that it's maybe a little too locked down, and that's okay. So better to have too much security because we can ease it back. And
absolutely,
the green Mate desktop basically has like all the power of the universe that you don't want anyone to get access to unless they have a reason to be in this green Mate desktop. Like like you're the architect, you're the admin, you're the one who runs the show, right?
Definitely. Anything you want to say about the virtual machine manager? Pretty straightforward, I guess. Deploy virtual machines.
Virtual machine manager allows you to generate virtual machines. I guess one of the most interesting things about it is it emulates virtual machines without the need of virtualization. So even if you're using a Raspberry Pi, thanks to the way that the Underground Nexus is set up, the Raspberry Pi actually can't run virtual machines by default. But if you're running the Underground Nexus and you configure it, go ahead and go to where it says File in there, Laura, and then go to Add Connection.
Oops, Add Connection.
And then go to Hypervisor and choose the one that says User Session, the second one down. And then just say Connect. By following that one little, like that one setup option, that allows you to start running virtual machines. You just now need, which we don't have to do right now, but you would need an ISO file or just a virtual machine image. It could be an OVA file, whatever is a virtual machine image. Then you can even have, say, like a Raspberry Pi run a virtual machine for what's called AMD 64. And for those of you who are engineers, you'll probably run into the fact that there are compatibility challenges with AMD 64 versus ARM. A Raspberry Pi can't run conventional applications that you might see running on other computers. Like if you have a laptop and then you have a Raspberry Pi, you'll notice that certain applications won't run or install. And certain virtual machines wouldn't be compatible. But QEMU will let you run ARM and AMD 64 virtual machines on either platform. So that does also mean that a non-Raspberry Pi can technically run a Raspberry Pi virtual machine, even though in theory your computer would never be compatible with a Raspberry Pi virtual machine.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So fun.
So you can run Raspberry Pi OS in there.
Cool.
Or Ubuntu
or any number of
any operating system. Yeah. And that's the. You can build virtual machine data centers that work like the ones of yore, but differently because the back end underneath the virtual machine is different. So instead of running virtual machines on data center bare metal systems, you run virtual machines on an abstracted layer that emulates the virtual machines. So you can build out anything that you would have built out in a data center in anywhere from like 2010 to 2020 without all of the requirements that you would have had in 2010 to 2020. Now you just run your data center resources on whatever you want, period.
Amazing. So cool.
Universal compatibility. Hey.
Cool. Well, I think that's a pretty thorough tour and pretty thorough explanation of the Nexus and how you can set it up and uninstall it, install the newest version when new updates came out. And of course there's an adorable puppy. Here he is. Oh, Apollo, stop biting me. Like, I'm standing up.
Ready.
He's ready. He's here for it. He's like, I love the Nexus. Yay, Nexus.
He's like, it's so exciting
like,
that
it's
even
so
I can use
exciting.
it. He's like, I don't know what it is, but I can lick it.
Like, but I would lick you while you try and use it. Oh, little doggy. So anyway, thanks everyone for joining us. We're gonna cut it off.
And I'm gonna go fix those. What, it was 2 links that didn't work? That we had to fix.
I don't know. I wasn't writing it down. I should have.
No, it's okay.
Notes.
I remember. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
And we have a whole video, so I was just saying.
We got video evidence, so you can always go back and rewatch the video.
Yeah. So I'll have to update some links.
Cool. Well, thanks everyone. Thanks to NATO for being in the background, lending your voice to the stream. Next time, I'm gonna make you be on camera with me. All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Thanks for everything, and.